pollution is heat pollution that is caused by factories and also when water is used as a coolant and heats up and it really negatively impacts rivers. It lowers dissolved oxygen and it affects marine life. The next type of pollution is nutrient pollution. Some examples are phosphorus and nitrogen. Now, they support the growth of algae and aquatic plants, which provide food and habitat for fish and shellfish and smaller organisms that live in the water, but they also cause algal blooms, which are really bad because they decrease oxygen that fish need to survive. It can actually harm humans because producing them increases toxins and bacterial growth that can make people sick. And also, infants are especially susceptible to nitrates. The last pollutant is E. coli. It's a type of fecal coliform bacteria that is commonly found in the intestines of humans and animals. However, when you get a lot of E. coli that is from animal waste and sewage waste, you can get too much E. coli, which is very bad because it can contribute to diseases like diarrhea, which are really bad, and people, especially elderly and young children, can die.
There are several different types of pollutants. There are point source pollutants and non-point source pollutants. Point source pollutants are pollutants that come from a single source and can be traced back to its origin, such as a sewage pipe or an oil spill. The second type is non-point source pollutants, which cannot be traced back to a single thing, such as runoff that causes eutrophication. The first major pollutant is E. coli, also known as fecal coliform. E. coli comes from animal waste contaminants and sewage. Therefore, it comes from factory farm in areas where agriculture is prevalent and waste from cattle and different types of animals is not properly disposed of. E. coli significantly decreases the sanitary condition of the water, causing deaths in humans, not necessarily death, but death and sickness in humans, also animals. The second major type of pollution is thermal pollution. Thermal pollution is caused by the expungement of water from places such as power plants and industrial plants that changes the temperature of the water, causing a significant decrease in dissolved oxygen, as well as affecting certain plants and animals because these certain plants and animals may be very specific to conditions that are already set in place by the ecosystem given. These changes in the temperature of water are from different cooling agents and heating agents that affect the temperature of the given water. The third and final type of pollution is phosphates. Phosphates come from soil erosion and fertilizers that cause eutrophication due to the fact that phosphates increase plant growth, therefore algae can cover the surface of waters, decreasing the dissolved oxygen underneath the water, and sunlight doesn't reach the bottom parts of plants and animals as well because the algae on the top is covering it, and this eutrophication significantly decreases dissolved oxygen and increases biological oxygen demand. These different pollutants have a huge effect on our ecosystem, and something must be done about them.
So, now that we know the two types of pollutants and how it specifically pollutes and impacts our environment, let's talk about how scientists today test our water to see exactly what's going on. So, one way that scientists test our water is water quality tests. These water quality tests can test our environment and our water to see and measure the different types of pollutants that are present. So one way that they measure is dissolved oxygen, which is the ability to support plants and animals. Next is turbidity, which is water clarity. And next is total solids, which is dissolved and suspended particles. There's also pH, which is the measure of acidity in the water. There's also temperature and flow. They also measure nitrates, which measure and monitor eutrophication, which can be very detrimental to the environment. There's also fecal coliform, which is bacteria in the water. There's also biochemical oxygen demand, which measures the oxygen removed by the animals and the plants. There's also phosphate, which measures the nutrients needed for plants and animals to survive. Another way scientists measure the quality of water and air in our environment is by the use of indicator species. Indicator species are those whose critical tolerance limits can be used to judge the environmental conditions. So, plants, algae, fungi, amphibians, fish, and mammals can act as indicator species. Lichen, for example, which are a combination of algae and fungus growing together, are indicators of air pollution. If no lichen are present, it usually indicates that there's heavy air pollution. Certain algae, fungus, and amphibians can be major indicators that our water is polluted and is used by scientists to determine so?
You can reduce your thermal pollution by using less electricity, so like when you turn off the lights from your room. Other ways are limiting factories from dumping water and waste into nearby bodies of water. You can limit phosphorus and nitrogen pollution by controlling runoff, use grass waterways, prevent livestock from entering the water sources, and have manure management plans. And also controlling the sewage runoff. That is for E. coli. Two laws that govern water quality are the Clean Water Act and the Office of Water. The Clean Water Act establishes basic structure for regulating discharges of pollutants into waterways of the U.S. The Office of Water ensures that drinking water is safe and restores and maintains oceans, watersheds, and their aquatic ecosystems to protect human health.